KP.
KPC.
News.
Information. Culture. KPCC.
California sensibility.
Music make you lose control. Music make you lose control.
Hey, I'm Amy Choi.
And I'm Rebecca Lehrer, and we are the Mashup Americans. Happy Year of the Rooster!
No,
No,
not
don't.
gonna do
You
that.
gotta say- That's funny though. The animal sounds, how they're different in different cultures. I was wondering which one you were going for there. Apparently, it's a good year for timeliness, fidelity, and punctuality.
Oh, I like that. Well, I hope that the Year of the Rooster is also a good year for love and loving, because I think, you know what, we could all use a little extra love in these dark times.
I think we could. Damn straight.
You know, and I also actually think that's something really important that has kind of revealed itself to us recently, is that in the face of all of the things that can be scary right now and that are scary right now, life marches on. And that living our mashup lives is actually become a political act. And so, like, you know, our joy is an act of subversion.
Hell yeah.
I know. So be happy, people, because
yeah,
they don't want us to be.
That's exactly right. We are real celebrators of joy and of love and marriage or relationships, whatever form they take for you. And mashup marriage, mashup relationships, and the coming together of two different cultures and races and backgrounds and what that means for the changing landscape of America.
Oh, it's a big deal.
Big deal. But listen, we also know it's very tricky because we are both in mashup marriages.
We definitely are. Please see our interview with Esther Perel on culture and sex and relationships.
Yes, please do that. And given that you guys, probably like us, know a bunch of people who got engaged over the holidays, we thought today it would be fun to talk to someone who's just starting a mashup marriage and planning their wedding, because dang, it can be hard. And also very fun.
Also so fun.
So
the most fun. Well, so today we'll be talking to Antonia Akatunde about her mashup relationship and planning her uber super duper mashy wedding. She is a first generation Catholic Nigerian American mashup. She's a brilliant journalist, the founder of the website and podcast Matter Mia, and she is betrothed to a delightful white Jewish American, Scott, from Long Island. They have amazing families who've been completely supportive of a mashup marriage, but that doesn't mean that the world is supportive of it.
Right. Like, how do you deal when you meet a totally racist jerk-faced rabbi? Or what do you do when you want to serve Kansas City pork barbecue at your wedding to your lovely fiance who happens to keep kosher? So there's a lot to unpack.
Yeah. Also, I could never be kosher, but we can talk about that some other time.
I know. We can talk about that.
Plus, we get some really tactical moving advice from Rebecca Fiffner, wedding planner extraordinaire and owner of Be Hitched Event Planning and Design. We are here helping America one in-law at a time. Let's get into it.
Everybody here, try to get your best off the wall, 'cause misdemeanor said so.
Antonia, welcome to the Mashup Americans.
Yes.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh my God, we're so excited to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do? What's your whole steez about?
My name is Antonia Akatunde. I'm a journalist, a storyteller. I have a website called Modern Mia that celebrates Black women at the intersection of career and family.
Fantastic. Well, so Antonia, how do you mash up?
I am a first-generation Nigerian. Both my parents are from Lagos, Nigeria. Midwest kid, raised in Kansas City, Missouri.
Casey Mo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there a Nigerian community there? Is there an immigrant?
There is. Yeah, there is. It's not, sizable like a Houston or a Chicago. Like it's there.
Right.
But, yeah. but
And
it's
you
not
knew
as
everybody.
big.
I'm guessing. It's like we knew every Korean person in all of Chicago. My parents went to high school with them for the most part.
Yeah.
Was there any assumption that you had, or did it surprise you that like, wow, so I fell madly in love with a white Jewish man?
I didn't have any expectations about who I was going to end up with, though any friend who would listen to this would be like laughing because I have only dated white guys, but that's not like a personal preference. It's just circumstance.
Right.
So like I want to make that clear. Like, I was like the UN in terms of hooking up, but like the guys who wanted to date me and who I liked as well were white guys, and I've only had 2 boyfriends. So when I got to college, I will say that my first boyfriend was white, as is my fiance, and my parents said that they didn't care what he looked like as long as he never hurt me. As long as the person was a good person, that's all that they cared about. So I never had to deal with concerns about interracial relationships in that regard.
And how about his family's sort of acceptance of you?
Oh, it was really, really quick. I remember we went out to Long Island to have dinner with them.
But
and I was
just as a
nervous.
pause, you definitely are marrying somebody from Long Island because you're like, we went out to Long Island. It's one word.
Long Island.
Long Island.
True.
Went out to Long Island. We went to Great Neck to meet all the Jews.
Oh, I can't with you. That is hilarious. So yeah, I went out to Long Island. And we had Italian.
Yeah.
And I remember we were leaving. I like looked back, and Scott's dad was like giving Scott like a big thumbs up. Like, very pleased.
Where did you guys meet?
Okay, Cupid.
Had Scott dated a black woman before?
He had, yes.
Many
Yes, he
in a
had.
row to constitute a fetish?
He had dated Jewish women and had a black girlfriend before me. And the way he talked about their relationship was one that wasn't like, ew, you're like a fetishist and like, I can't deal with you. Like, I dated a guy whose ex-wife, who he was still very clearly in love with, was Nigerian.
Oh, okay.
That's not
And like
good.
would talk to me about like Nigerian stuff and like make jokes as if he were more Nigerian than I was. And I was just like, okay, that's cute that you think that. Like, I just don't want to continue this thing. This is good, you guys. I've never been asked these questions before. So.
Totally.
Oh, this is
and
what- this
here's-
is how we
this is what
do.
do.
This is
I
what
mean,
we do.
Literally, this is what Rebecca and I were talking about like 8 years ago when we first became friends.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this was before Gabe and I had kids, and Gabe was like, well, what if our children look Asian? I was like, babe, our children are going to be Asian.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And there's a difference, right? And like,
There is a big
I
difference.
think there's like something that, you know, you can fall in love with a person and be so completely with them and have zero questions about it. But it's just all the other shit. You're like, this is tricky.
Yeah. I was going to say, I couldn't be with someone of the same race as me or as a different race as me who like did not get what it means to be a minority in this country.
Yes.
In the sense that like Scott is white, he's Jewish, but like I don't have to explain to him why things are messed up in this country as it relates to people in my community and police brutality and racism, and like I don't have to explain to him why that's wrong.
Right.
Or like why I'm upset about something, because he's right there along with me upset. I've had relationships in the past with people who like were seemingly woke because they had like college language to talk about dichotomies and, you know, use big words to try to explain how messed up the world was, but really had like, you know, messed up tendencies that I didn't realize until it was like, oh, well, man.
Right.
Do you feel that his being part of a minority group helps that?
Well, he said that dating me has definitely opened up his eyes to things, which I appreciate. He said that he also is like standing in his identity as a Jewish person more from dating me, since my identity as a Black person and a Nigerian is so integral to who I am. There was a period recently where I had to have a come to Jesus moment with a lot of friends to be like, you know, I am no longer worried about being perceived as the angry Black woman. If you say something messed up about anything, I'm going to call you out on it. If it's, you know, I'm so used to it being like, oh, take it easy. It's just a joke. Like, I can say this because, you know, I'm not really anti-Semitic. And so, yeah, we both are kind of having this consciousness about our identities at the same time, which is nice to experience.
So love that. Gosh, I love Scott.
I know.
I mean,
As soon as the beat drop, we got the streets locked overseas. A Punjabi MC in the rock. I came to see the mommies.
Having a Hindu wedding, a Lebanese Filipino one? Don't know where to start? We have so many great resources on our site. Tips for hosting a mashup wedding, questions to ask yourself and your partner, gorgeous real wedding stories. Check it out at mashupamericans.com.
Still hot, young's the eighth wonder. All I do is get bread, yeah, I take wonder. I take one of your chicks straight from under your armpit.
We are very excited because we have our mashup wedding expert with us, Rebecca Lehrer.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Well, and Rebecca, so tell us about your business real quick.
Sure. So my company is called Be Hitched. We're based in the Bay Area. Most of the couples that I work with are really interested in having weddings that are meaningful and personal and reflect their values. And so I was really excited to chat with you.
Very, very exciting. Well,
Yeah.
so we've already fallen in love with Scott. We love Antonio. We hear
Yeah.
everybody's like standing in their identities and being so strong and being open and amazing, and they're planning their wedding. Antonio, what's the date?
July 28, 2017.
Okay, so
great
2017, summer date. And it sounds like you guys are getting married in Kansas City. Is that right?
Yes.
What's the Missouri connection? What's the Kansas City connection?
Oh, I'm from Kansas City originally.
Got it.
And I
Okay.
also love barbecue. So I knew before
Yeah.
I had the man that I wanted my wedding to be in Kansas City.
I have a
Yes.
question. Is there any problem with serving pork at your wedding?
So Scott is kosher. The rest of his family isn't. Beef ribs are hard to find. It's mostly pork ribs. So I think there will be pork there, but he doesn't have to eat it. And we're going to find a kosher cake, either a vegan wedding cake or, kosher parve cake.
My family's not kosher. I mean, I have one uncle and aunt who are, but we didn't serve it would have been kind of egregious in our, like my dad would have been why are you serving pork? He eats pork. That's not even like, Amy just made a Korean feast for my parents and they ate everything. He literally had the meat platter like as if it was his own plate. But it's something about
Just honoring that.
optics
Yeah,
of it.
yeah. And for them, not even for other people. There was something about that, which
I
is just,
pulled back on not having a suckling pig. For that reason. I was like,
that feels
let's
egregious.
calm it down.
Yeah,
that
okay,
feels
fair.
like a lot.
Full shape
Okay.
of a pig.
Yeah,
Fine.
yeah.
Cool.
Wait, so let's set the stage here because you guys,
Okay.
we're already in love with, as we said, in love with you guys as a couple. Everybody seems so respectful and so open. And then you went to Kansas City and you had a horrific experience.
Yeah. Ugh.
With the start of your plan.
Actually,
Yep.
we had to find a reform rabbi. We reached out to 3 people. The first day, we saw 2 people, and they were totally awesome. The first rabbi asked a lot of questions. The second rabbi worked in Atlanta, had lunch and dinner with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and had like really beautiful stories and a beautiful outlook on the world. So the third rabbi that we saw, Rabbi Jock Kukukorn,
He's getting
I
called
will-
out.
Yeah, your name, sir, is mud to me. But and so we met him. He is, asking us questions about how we met, what we like about each other, why we want to get married, and then he asked, well, what do you guys think about the fact that you're going to have mixed kids? Because the same people who hate you, talking to me, hate us. And so I said, oh, well, obviously, like you can't be a minority in this country and not think about the way racism will eventually affect your children. And I think also with me doing Modern Mia and talking about a lot of these issues, I'm especially sensitive to it. So I was saying, my blackness is rooted in the fact that my parents are Nigerian. And he interrupts me and he says, oh, Nigerians? I love Nigerians. They're so hardworking and like morally upright, basically presenting Nigerians as model minorities. He was saying, yeah, I really like them. I'll say this. I like black people. I don't like niggers. And I say the word because whenever I tell the story and I say, and he said the N word, people are like, oh, did he really say that? Did he really say that? I can't believe that. I can't believe he would really say it. And it's like, no, he said this word. He said it looking me in my face and expecting me to agree with him. I shut down. I felt like all the water in my body had just evaporated. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't even form, spit to hack at him. I was just so overwhelmed. Scott shut it down immediately. He was like, look, we're getting out of here. We want to end this meeting. We don't want you anywhere near our wedding. And the guy tried to convince us that what he said wasn't wrong, that what he said was true. Then he tried to pit himself as the victim. Oh, so because I said one word, I'm not worthy as a human. And Scott was like, yeah, pretty much. You're worthless. So we're getting up to leave. And he says, well, do you want me to recommend some other rabbis for July 28th, 2017? And we were like, no, we want nothing to do with you or anyone who you would associate with. And we left. I was so upset and so angry because Scott and I had been having conversations just because we're a really talky, feelingsy couple about what it means to have Black kids because, our kids are going to be Black, and what it would mean to raise them Jewish, and, would they find acceptance or would they be tolerated? And it all brought these very, meaty conversations that could be happy and made them very ugly by someone being so careless and thoughtless and just a horrible human being.
We're so sorry that you had such a shitty experience.
Yeah.
Thanks,
that
guys.
sucks. That.
Thanks, guys.
Such a horrible thing to have happen is sort of this one of the starting points of the wedding planning process.
Yeah.
Right.
Where are you now? Did you ultimately find a rabbi that you like? Have you decided that you do want to move forward with a Jewish ceremony? Have you guys sort of made a decision there?
We haven't as of yet. I think the first rabbi that we met, we did really like her. And she did point us in the direction of several resources in New York. We also made a report to a rabbinical association in Kansas City and spoke to the head of that organization. And he also sent us a lot of resources. So I feel like we're in a fact-finding position right now. Scott's faith means so much to him. I don't want to say no one's Jewish now. We're not having a Jewish ceremony, locking this down. I do want to be respectful of that, but I also want to find someone who's respectful of us.
I'm getting a sense of some of the areas of kind of Scott's Jewish culture and religion that you want to incorporate in the ceremony. What are some Nigerian wedding traditions that you want to bring in to the day?
Yeah, so there is something called an introduction that's typically done, I think, in the engagement period, but I would like to bring it into our ceremony. It's when the parents meet for the first time, and it's, we'll have a change of outfit into traditional Nigerian garb. You present the groom to the parents, and he pays his respects, and then he is basically saying, "Hey, I'm here because I want to marry your daughter." And then they bring out different people, different women, and they're like, "Hey, is this the one that you want to marry?" And he's like, "No, that's not her." This one? Is this the one? Are you sure? Until I come out. So that's one thing.
Wait, can I? Who
it's
are
really
gonna?
fun.
Who are the other ladies? Are they gonna be your besties? That's Scott's no,
I mean,
I'm
not doing bridesmaids. So maybe it would be my friends who are in committed relationships, but I think that's also as rude as doing the flower toss. All the single ladies, he doesn't want you, I'm getting married.
Is there some aspect of the wedding that you feel the most nervous about, or that you see as the biggest challenge?
I'm not so nervous about this. I just don't want anyone to say something stupid.
Wow.
Just family and friends who aren't Nigerian and who haven't been to a Nigerian wedding not getting this part. So a Nigerian wedding, they have something known as spraying, where you
Oh yeah, throw the
while
money.
the people are dancing and you like put money on the celebrant to like honor them.
It's really fun and nice.
Yeah, it's really fun. I don't want people to like be making stripper jokes or like,
No.
oh, I'm getting all these ones to go to Antonia's wedding. That's the thing. So I would love to like incorporate or to have some like kind of educational information on our wedding website. So like traditions, and you click on it and I'll talk about like the Jewish traditions that we're engaging in and the Nigerian ones.
This is a common fear that I hear not just from my mashup couples, but from all of my couples. Is someone at the wedding going to say something stupid? Are they, going to embarrass me? Are they going to do something that's offensive? And, I've been coordinating weddings for a really long time, and people, for the most part, kind of show their best colors at weddings. For the most part, they're super respectful, and honestly, you are going to be so happy and in the moment during the wedding that if someone does something stupid, you're not going to care. Like, maybe like weeks afterward, you'll reflect on it and be like, I was super annoyed that like someone was like making it rain money during the spraying ceremony. but at the time, it's not going to impact you because you're going to be so happy and in the moment.
Thanks for saying that, because
Yeah.
with all the stuff that's gone around my wedding that hasn't been like the say yes to the dress cookie cutter bridal experience, I keep forgetting that this is supposed to be a happy occasion. Thank you for reminding me that that's supposed to be happy.
My father-in-law, who's not Jewish, like I'll just cry again, but one of the most moving things that happened was he gave a toast and he was like, we're all Jews tonight. Like he was just like really felt like, and it was like my family felt so happy and I was so moved. Sorry.
Yeah.
And it's still, this is 4.5 years later.
Yeah.
And a lot has happened since then, but it was so moving. He knew somehow, he's not a religious or a spiritual person, but he knew that was important to him and to everyone. And he was so clear about it. And I think it was one of the most like special things that's ever happened in my life,
Who knew we were all going to cry like this
know.
today? Oh my God.
What a bunch of girls.
We're talking about our wedding. Wait, there's literally tissue behind you.
I know.
I think I need one.
Becca, I was actually thinking this morning of a conversation you and I had after your wedding, and you said something like, I hear all these brides talk about, the day it's a blur. There's so many things I don't remember. And you said, my wedding was in Technicolor. I remember every single detail.
Yeah.
My mashup couples really start from this core place of defining what's meaningful for us. How are we going to express ourselves? How are we going to express what's important to us as a couple, our values through our wedding? And I feel like that not only grounds the whole experience, but just makes the whole wedding itself so vibrant, so alive, so everyone is so engaged and focused. And ideally, that's going to happen anytime you're starting from a core place of figuring out what's most meaningful for you versus wanting to have your wedding look like something on Pinterest.
I literally sound like I've been crying for hours.
We're broken.
like-
We're broken people.
That those questions, I think that every couple should have them, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
every
Of
relationship
course.
should have them. It's just when you're a mashup, you have to have them sooner. You have to have them in some way, like more intensely, and like
Yeah.
not
And
for
more
nothing.
intentionally.
And more intentionally.
Yeah,
that
definitely.
shitty rabbi who I hope he.
I'm breaking my foot all up in his ass.
Yeah.
No, wait, hold on. I think what we do, you can take this from the Ashkenazi Jews that will be your children's ancestors, is go, pui, pui, pui. That's a little spitting for him. Ugh.
He was he's the worst person, but he did put you in a place, like you said, you could have had these conversations now, Or you could have them a year from now.
Right.
You could be
Yeah.
pregnant and having them. Or you could be,
Right.
and it's still you and Scott doing it, but how great to do it now. And then when you launch into your married life, you have all so much of it sorted out already. Or at least those seeds are planted where you're like, okay, so this is
Right.
something
Yes.
that we are going to talk about, can continue talking about.
When you're a non-mashup couple, when you are starting from a place where you have a shared sort of vision of what a wedding is, or what it looks like, or what it sounds like, and feels like, you're looking at questions like, okay, what reading are we going to do during the ceremony? Like, is it going to be the Velveteen Rabbit, or is it going to be, whatever? So you're
Are we
kind of
gonna have a
looking at-
Betty Boop cake?
Right.
I secretly, I will say, wanted to have that Steel Magnolias armadillo.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah,
Should have.
yeah.
Anniversary.
Maybe.
Anniversary.
Right. So maybe you're kind of starting from this base understanding of what it's going to look like. So maybe some of the questions that you're asking about the wedding, are a little bit more, not necessarily surface level, but when you're a mashup couple, you're really asking these questions in the wedding planning process that are the seeds of these larger questions that you are going to be asking about how you want to live your life, how
Yeah.
you want to raise your kids.
The thing I'm most looking forward to is super cliche, but just seeing Scott's face when I walk down the aisle. I think we're both criers.
We're not. We're not. No, never
Welcome to the
cried.
club.
Just
Yeah.
hard, stone cold
Yeah,
ladies.
so
every
cold
last one
bitches
of
up
you.
here.
But yeah, just seeing his face as I walk towards him, I think is gonna just
I would recommend waterproof mascara and eyeliner.
But it's just a sweet, sweet fantasy, baby. When I close my eyes, you come and take me.
Did you know that we have a newsletter? Yeah, we do, and it's awesome. Every week, we serve up a curated list of the most mashy and interesting stories from around the world. Sign up now at mashupamericans.com/newsletter.
I would love to hear, we know what Antonia is most excited about. What is everybody's key piece of tactical, not just love the day, because obviously you're going to do that, mashup wedding advice?
If I
Becca,
could also add marriage advice too.
Ooh, marriage
Because
advice.
I think there's a lot of emphasis on the day, and while I'm really excited about it, I know that our lives together, or I hope our lives together will be very long beyond the wedding day. So I'm always interested in hearing people's just general marriage advice.
Yes.
Too, or relationship advice.
When the focus of the day is so directly connected to and lined up with what your values are and what your vision is for, the relationship that you have, the relationship that you're building, the family that you want to start, then it feels, I think, a little bit less like the wedding is all about these crazy details, like linen colors or menu selections, whatever, and more about a focus on who you are, celebrating this love, celebrating this relationship, and bringing everyone around you kind of into that big love.
Becca?
What have you not yet said to your fiance because you're kind of afraid to even say it to yourself? The example we put as an answer was, I never thought my future children would be black, right? Let's say that's something maybe Scott, I don't want to project this on Tim, but in this scenario might have thought and might be something that he's afraid to even say out loud, but then he says it and it's okay, let's deflate that. I think taking the process again seriously so that it's not about a wedding day, it's about your whole life. Honoring who you are in this moment, but knowing and hoping and trying to grow together to who you will be in all the next moments forever. Because this idea that you're going to be exactly the same or that this person is not you. Amy?
That's good. My marriage advice is to be patient because they don't know what you know. You don't know what they know. And you also don't know what parts of you will change throughout your life, or things that are so, you can't even imagine the things that are so deeply ingrained in you that you assume that everybody else gets it because you're how do you, I literally don't understand how you don't know that. And they don't. Be patient.
This is what our rabbi, who was wonderful, said. It's a marathon and not a sprint. So, like, this is just like a whole life we have to get there. And so it doesn't have to all be resolved now.
I feel like
That's great life events.
Yeah. I feel like we all just had a little bit of therapy.
I laughed. I cried.
Yeah.
I was like, should I get back on OkCupid? Like, it sounds so great now.
Why haven't we had any Nigerians on the show?
Well, now we had one.
Oh my gosh.
It's
Am I your
messed up.
Jackie Robinson of Nigerians?
You're our first Nigerian.
You're our first
So-
Nigerian.
Yay!
Niger.
Niju. Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, Nijus. That's so good. Oh, God.
Hashtag, new hashtag.
Okay, so with that, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
This was so
guys.
much fun.
Oh my gosh.
Talk to you
Gave
later.
me so much food for thought.
Wait, hold on.
Good.
I'm going to screenshot all four of us.
All
Ready? Everyone
four.
smile. Do-do-do-do. Nailed it. Well, big surprise. We cried. Crybabies. Thinking about weddings as a setup for your life together rather than a Pinterest board seems pretty awesome.
It's too good. Do you think we'll be invited to Antonia and Scott's wedding barbecue?
I really hope so.
Oh, me
It's like
too.
really big risk here, but we're please because this Jewish lady loves a pork rib. So thank you so much, Antonia Akatunde. You can find her at matermia.com. And thank you to Rebecca Fiffner. Check out her work at behitched.com or on Instagram at behitched.
We want to hear about your weddings, guys. Join us on Facebook.com/MashupAmericans. We want to see photos and hear stories. And what did you dance to? With that, the Mashup Americans are me, Amy Choi.
And me, Rebecca Lehrer. Our producer today was Jocelyn Gonzalez. Our show is produced by American Public Media and Southern California Public Radio, KPCC.
We're also supported in part by an award from the National Endowment for the Arts. Big shout out to the NEA. Support the
NEA,
arts.
the most important thing we ever do.
Thank you, National Endowment for the Arts. And everybody who's interested in them, wants to support them, go see them at arts.gov. Ciao.
Bye.